Breaking news. Cody Bellinger's a Yankee. We were recording Wake and Jake. I'll have BBD leave it in because it's tasteful.
And we kind of didn't end it nice, so I guess it's just the end.
It's kind of the end. I did want to talk a little football, so maybe we'll just put it after that, and we'll laugh and we'll laugh and we'll laugh. But Cody Bellinger is back with the Yankees. 5 years, $162 million. And a half, excuse me. Full no trade clause. So this episode of Wake and Jake, we talk about, it was a lot of Mets, New York episode. Welcome to WFAN, baby. Because we did the Luis Robert, I don't know, trade, and also circled back on Bichette because we kind of missed that over the weekend. So that's what's coming. For now, a couple minutes on Cody Bellinger before we hop over to Talkin' Yanks, where I talk to Jimbo. Maybe Joe's McFly. God. We'll see. He's in this episode.
He ended up in this episode.
Kind of.
Kept saying 9 years at you.
Hey, these negotiations got public that freaked out Yankee fans. It was kind of noted that it wanted to land right around the Pete Alonso range. And then everyone was talking a little bit and was like, well, I don't know. Is Cody a little better than that? He's a little younger. Pete's been more consistent. People were scared about how Pete's going to age. Pete can only be first base DH, where Cody can play elite defense at a lot of positions. That the Yankees said they were saying firm at 5 years. The quotes were starting to get a little weird about not going further than that, and then people were getting scared. Wait, the Blue Jays offered 10 years for Kyle Tucker. The Mets could still use outfield help. Maybe the Luis Robert trade is what ended this whole deal. Cody Bellinger's back with the Yankees. If you don't like Yankee stuff, you might even want to tune out even more for a minute because, as that is a huge contract and a nice piece, and, the Yankees can go back to Belly, Grisham, Judge, Rice, Stanton, Jazz, Dominguez, McMahon. The whole team obviously feels better because you added a great baseball player. But Yankee fans are saying, okay, so the team's back to where they were last year when they got embarrassed by the Blue Jays in the playoffs. Where the offense seemed to be missing some things, where the pitching seemed to be missing some things, although they're on path to get Garrett Cole back for this year. Rodon will miss the start of the season, but the breakout of Cam Schlittler, what Max Fried did last year, that the Yankees are back to being positioned well. I did have a little anarchist in me that if the Yankees didn't sign Cody Bellinger, I don't know if they had a backup plan. Might have been Luis Robert. So the fact that Belly is back with the Yankees, he's very good with lefties as well for a lefty. It just gives them a lot of flexibility team-wise. It gives them a lot of flexibility in their lineup. And, hey, for 5 years, Cody Bellinger with a no-trade clause is going to be a Yankee, which, there was some early whispers that he might not be a big city guy. We got to talk to him. He's very good friends with Cole Tucker. They grew up together. That he was a little more open and honest with us, and he's like, dude, I like New York. New York's great. And I don't know, my wife, my kids, we're good.
I was playing baseball. I can do that.
He's like, I play baseball. He's like, when you're a baseball player, you play baseball pretty much every day. That he's like, at the end of the day, you're just kind of looking for good food and stuff, and New York wins there. So, Cody Bellinger is back with the Yankees. I'm interested to see if they have more. Again, they've brought in starting pitching depth. Ryan Weathers, you could get excited about arm potential-wise. Yarby and Blackburn don't necessarily have that, but they are major league pitchers up until this point of their career. There's still something weird with the Yankees breaking camp with Fried, Schlittler, Warren, Weathers, and Heel. Let's see. Let's see if they can tap into anything in the trade market. With Belly being secured, does that make Jason Dominguez more expendable? Because right now he would go to the bench. The Yankees kind of did that in the second half of the season last year. They also liked their rotation for a little bit, so they don't need to. But if there is a trade that could potentially move the needle, I think they'll be in on it. Because as something I reminded Mets fans later in this episode that already happened, time travel, Judge is turning 34. Cole's 35. Stanton, who gets forgot, he's 36. So this Yankees time period now has another 3-year window where Cody's going to be 30 to 33. You'd assume Judge slows down at some point. I'll knock on wood. I hope he doesn't. I hope he's just the best to ever do it because that's what he's been doing. That you've now kind of created another window, like Garrett Cole's next couple years, Cody Bellinger's next couple years, Judge's next couple years, Max Fried, he's 32. The Yankees signed him for a long time. And I guess with that being said, and this is what I was prefacing you before about if you don't like hearing Yankee talk either way, it's go time. It's go time that I hope Ben Rice is a dude. I hope, Austin Wells, we did our catcher tier list with Jolly. Tier list season is coming, people. This is now the second reminder in this episode. Who is he in the pantheon of catchers and baseball? Can Ryan McMahon do enough defensively and offensively to stick with this team? I think he's a winning player, but you do need a lot of other pieces around him. Jazz is just a top-tier second baseman. Haven't done that tier list yet, but he is. That I'm expecting the Yankees to put the chips more in. In today's baseball, with the expanded wild card and the trade deadline, you can let things play out and then do your business there. I'd like to see them do more business up front. Cody Bellinger seemingly was holding up their offseason a little bit. He is back. And I don't think any teams really feel too spurned. I mean, with the Mets going Bichette and Robert, with the Blue Jays feeling like they have a really good team, and with the Dodgers obviously feeling pretty good and bringing in Kyle Tucker, that I don't know. I wonder what we're going to hear about if teams were left at the altar. Did the Phillies, were there any sneaky teams that were in the mix, or was it the Mets making the Robert trade that kind of was like, hey, it's Belly and the Yankees here?
Yeah. It doesn't always I'm very curious if we get the second best offer was actually the Pirates, who still need to spend.
Ooh, it'd be a fun, weird one. I'll accept one weird Belly offer. Diamondbacks or something. They got first base and outfield. He's from there. So, again, go tune in to Talking Yanks. That'll be all of our brain dump thoughts on it. Exciting, kind of that it happened now. We literally, if you just like watching stuff happen, literally we were about to end the baseball chatter, and I was landing on, and let's see what happens with Belly, and BBD looks at his phone and is like, what? I think this is really happening. So that's fun. So, yeah, a lot of Mets talk, a little bit of baseball. And I do think I still want to wrap it with a little bit of football, so we'll time travel one more time. Hello and welcome to Wake and Jake. It's a very special episode because it's January 21st, and there was just a trade that's been announced. Luis Robert. I'll talk about my struggles with that last name, and we'll talk about some of his struggles on the field, and we'll talk about the Mets getting one of the highest ceiling players in the game for the price of essentially one prospect, Ronald Acuna's little brother. Pitcher from Harvard, too. We'll talk about that. And we just need to break down the Mets a little bit because I haven't seen you since the Bo Bichette signing happened. So we can walk through that, some of the ripple effect. The Phillies left at the altar. How do you like that? And this whole Mets formula of Jorge Polanco at first, Bo Bichette at third. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a Bregman Dever situation on our hands here with Brett Beatty, who can play third base, and Bo Bichette, who has never. Let's talk about it. Let's see what we can figure out along the way. We'll see if there's any other free agent or trade thoughts that leak out of us. I want to talk a little bit of football at the end, and we'll see what else is going on in this. I keep wanting to say the final week of January. It's just not true. It's January 21st. But I don't know. January's chewing away a little quicker than I expected. I think between football and a couple long weekends. Why not? Anyways, let's start with the trade because that was the more recent thing that's happened. And yeah, I have people commenting on every video I post spelling out Robert. And they're saying, like, no, dude, you got to roll the R more. And, like, I don't think I can do that. Am I missing another pronunciation? Robert? And then everyone else also comes back and is like, yeah, he's fine with people saying Robert. So I don't know. Either way, why don't we put the guns down on this one? It's going to be okay. the very talented Luis. Cuban center fielder, Cuban Mike Trout, we were told for a little bit there, came up during the 2020 season, second in Rookie of the Year, Gold Glove, I believe, as a rook. And then he came out and he was gangbusters in 2021. Balls had a little sauce on them. But he got hurt. He only played a limited amount of games, but it seemed like this was happening. This was also supposed to be, remember, that was kind of the White Sox were supposed to happen. Giolito, Lance Lynn, they had a whole rotation. Dylan Cease, it never happened for that White Sox team, including Robert, who into the next season, he contributed again. The numbers went down, a 110 OPS plus, 2.2 WAR in 98 games, still kind of a winning player. Puts the full thing together in 2023, 38 home runs. That's a lot. 20 stolen bases. He finished 12th in the MVP, won the Silver Slugger at age 25. It seemed like he was happening, even though the White Sox were not. And the past 2 years were just not very good. 1.4 WAR in each season, 100 games and 110 games, 224, 223. A 657 OPS, a 661 OPS, 14 homers in each of them. Stolen base numbers have gone up. That's good. We changed some of the rules there. Also, he's chasing less. So if you're looking for optimistic Luis Robert type stuff, there's a couple things you can look for. Also, just leaving the White Sox. I know there was some internet fodder. I tweeted out, I did a reaction video where part of that reaction video is like, hey, I currently can't deny there's a stink on the White Sox. And if you want to believe that or not believe that, I'm sorry, White Sox fans. I think most of you do believe it. Andrew Vaughn, who was looked at as like a bust from that draft class that especially was standout. He went over to Milwaukee, was great. It's a small sample size. Baseball's a weird sport sometimes. I don't know where Andrew Vaughn's going to be in my first baseman tier list this year, but get ready for it because we started recording them. Jolly Olive was in the lab with us the other day, so we are on our way for those. So if you like those, start getting excited. Change of scenery in sports and in life is real. Hello. That sometimes that's what you need. I don't know if that's all the difference. I don't know if that's going to help Luis Robert from batting .223 the past two seasons. What I do think is he spent more than half of his time last year hitting second, third, or fourth. With the Mets, he's going to start the year in the bottom of the lineup. He's going to be surrounded by more talent than he's ever had. Lindor, Soto, Bo Bichette. How do you like that? Let's see if they're done bringing in players. But the Mets are obviously very talented. Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, Brett Beatty, Brett the Met. People are talking about it. And that's still with Vientos, Mauricio, Tyrone Taylor. Like, the Mets roster, Carson Benj, the top prospect, still slotted into left field for now. Could be a little platoon situation. Or are they still in on Belly? We'll talk about that. As a pure baseball fan, if you're a New York Mets fan, I think you should like this. You're bringing in an uber-talented guy. And your worst-case scenario here, worst-case scenario is injury, which he does have a little bit of an injury history. Also some like soft tissue stuff, some hamstrings. I'm not going to pretend that I have better knowledge on that than anyone else. He has only played more than 110 games one time in a season. So that's interesting for a guy that's been around for 5 full seasons now. I think, so again, best case, as I was saying, the defensive metrics are still there. Outs above average, whatever your defensive metrics, Luis Robert still has it. He passes the eye test. And he hits lefties. Hit lefties at a good clip last year. So worst case scenario versus lefties, you have a guy that even when, he was kind of struggling, he was still hitting lefties, he was still playing defense. You have an asset there. Is it worth the money? We'll figure that out along the way. And Mets, your advantage is having Steve Cohen. That, part of the reason you're getting this player is because you were willing to pay the money, which people were giving the White Sox and Chris Getz their GM credit, because we've debated Luis Roberts' trade value for a while now, and it actually happens. And it's Luis Angel Acuna and another flyer prospect. The couple places I clicked around, it was kind of my consensus too. This is good for the White Sox. I mean, yeah, if you want to do some AL Central and getting off money, that is what it is. And yeah, it's not ideal, but also Luis Robert has been a depreciating asset that we were getting very close to the White Sox not doing anything with this. The fact they bring in Luis Angel Acuna, and again, maybe am I too interested in it because we know his big brother. We saw him play a little bit for the Mets. He had a Winter League highlight going around where he hit 4 homers. One was off a position player. I don't know. Part of me just likes sports families that if you're going to bet on a prospect, I don't know, a guy that's seen a little bit of show, guy that has a brother in the show. Howard, seems like you get some help with your training regimen. There's rumors he might learn how to play the outfield. He's got a good asset in that. Text your brother. And that goes for anyone watching the show. Where things get a little more dicey, and I said high risk, high reward, because I believe in the high reward part. I mean, how many center fielders can possibly go out there this year with the potential for a 5-WAR season, which Luis Robert had in 2023? I don't know. I guess I can mentally do that. We're doing a center field tier list that I could have labeled something that way. I did not. I guess draw your own conclusions on that. Less pressure on him down in the lineup. The other side to he still hit lefties last year means his righty numbers are even more atrocious. 211, 272, a 601 OPS versus righties last year. That's tough. That's not what you want. Trevor on Talking Baseball was talking some swing adjustments. Okay, maybe that's there. Maybe the change of scenery is there, and maybe those numbers go up. The year before, he was worse versus lefties against righties. So clearly, whether injury, swing, White Sox, there's stuff going on. And getting his talent surrounded by the other Mets talent, I do like the move for the Mets. I do think as we start getting into the end of the offseason, right? Cody Bellinger is a free agent. Framber Valdez is a free agent. After that, we're starting to get into Chris Bassett, Bader, Zach Gallen searching for a home, Eugenio. So, there's pieces there, but the tone and tenor of free agency's definitely changed that, we're starting to grade off seasons. Although, knock on wood, baseball people, hope we start getting more trades. It seemed like free agency may have been holding up the trade market, that we've seen a couple more go through. Let's see if that continues, because then we can save our grades on the offseason. If I'm a Mets fan, I'm still a little freaked out. DraftKings. And this is why I'm freaked out if I'm a Mets fan. Brought to you by DraftKings. How about that? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, makes every playoff moment feel bigger. DraftKings has your back with early exit protection. If the player in your eligible NFL prop bet goes down at any point in the first half, still get paid in cash like that. Here's the best part. New customers bet just $5. If your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code JMSports. That's code JMSports. Turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. So I made a couple jokes early on in this baseball offseason because some of the first contracts that got signed were guys that underachieved last year. Dylan Cease was one of the biggest contracts and one of the biggest winners of this free agency so far. He did not have a banner year last year. And a couple of the early free agent signings were guys that maybe didn't have their best years that I think in a sense of horrible irony, front offices were like, well, that actually might be our best way to get value out of these guys. I'm trying to think who else stood out. Raisel Iglesias aren't, but his numbers weren't bad. Who else? BBD. I'm reaching right now. There was there was like two guys that got signed that had meh free agent years, but teams made their move on them early. Devin
got paid early.
Devin Williams.
He wasn't part of it, but like Mike King had injuries and stuff.
Right.
He's not part of what we had this thought before he even happened. But
there was definitely a third guy. It was Devin. It was Dylan Cease, and I feel like there was one other guy that it was just kind of funny. Like, I don't know, Adolis Garcia maybe. I guess let me know. Luke Weaver, I mean, his year was still kind of okay. I don't know. I guess you chat, let me know who else I'm blanking on. Oh, Ryan Helsley.
Yes.
Ryan Helsley was hitting free agency seemingly at a bad time, and Baltimore gave him 2 years, $14 million, and that was like the value prop that you were getting him at the worst time.
Mullins got a deal pretty quick.
Yeah.
All the guys who kind of got it done early had questions.
Maybe did right. I like Bo Bichette a lot. I have no qualms with that signing. I wanted the Yankees to get Bo Bichette. I've gone on rants on, I don't care that Bo Bichette's not a good shortstop. I think most of the time Bo Bichette's on the field, you still have the better shortstop. That, sometimes we get caught up in a little too much in trying to have the perfect players at perfect positions. That being said, maybe Bo's going to have a great future at second, third, or elsewhere, as we're about to talk with the Metropolitans. That Bo Bichette, I have no problem with that signing. 3 years. I know the money's real. Who cares? You get Bo Bichette, age 28, 29, and 30 in the middle of your lineup. I've always loved his bat. I think his bat is, I don't want to say the future of baseball, but contact's becoming just a little more sexy. And Bo has that in droves. And my God, the run driving in opportunities he potentially could have behind Lindor and Soto. I'll take any Bo Bichette hitting stock you got. On the other side of things, Jorge Polanco, who I like and who I've argued for, I'm not going to attack hitting wise. He's currently slotted cleanup, which used to mean a lot more in baseball, it felt like. Switch hitting and like the balance in the Mets lineup is really beautiful right now. What is Jorge Polanco entering his 32, 33-year-old season? I don't fully know. I think you'd like to see him in a slightly different position in the lineup. When the roller coaster is going up the hill with Lindor, Soto, Bichette, Jorge Polanco feels like the peak of the roller coaster, that it's like, okay, I think something's about to happen. These are two very talented Major League Baseball players. These are two baseball players that play really good defense that the Mets have driven home is a big priority for them this offseason. Marcus Semien is an elite second baseman. Luis Robert is an elite center fielder. Strength up the middle. Two important defensive positions throughout the times of baseball. Both of them are coming off tough seasons and getting paid real money. Like Marcus Semien, the Marcus Semien-Brandon Nimmo trade was the Mets getting off money. Like, that's just the facts of it. The Texas Rangers did that trade to get a better baseball player, but to take on 2 more years of contract. And again, hey, maybe the Mets got ahead of a good transaction there. But for the year of 2026, another one of the years that the Mets are playing Lindor's 32, Soto's 27. Again, it's not rushing. You don't have to put all the chips on the table. A Mets fan could come back at me as a Yankees fan and say, hey, how old's Judge and Cole? And you would be right. And that's why Yankee fans have been freaking out. So Bo Bichette, hey, in. Jorge Polanco as a move in your offseason, in. First base is a little interesting, but
as just a guy you're getting into the mix.
Switch hitter, I noted his year in Seattle when he hit free agency. That was his only below average hitting season. That Jorge Polanco's just been a good baseball player that I like him a lot. Simeon's 35. The offensive stats have been trending down. Okay. And again, like where they landed, I know the defense is fantastic, and that's part of what they wanted to bring in. And I gave the same speech about him as Robert, fitting into this Mets lineup, that if he can tap back in for a little something, absolutely. He was .230 batting average, .305 on base, a .669 OPS last year. Okay. Luis Robert, .223 batting average, .297 on base, a .661 OPS. So two of the guys you're slotting in your lineup, I like to think they have more than that. I think Robert, the conversation's pretty easy. Leaving Chicago, age-wise in his prime, has had a massive season, still has bat speed. Like, a lot of the metrics are still there. If he can even be serviceable, if he's a little below league average against righties next year, he is a very much plus player. And if there's more than that, which he has shown in the past, you didn't give up much for a center fielder in their prime that, hey, if he's good next year, you tap into that next year $20 million option, and okay, like you just covered 2 years of center field with a quality baseball player. Simeon's declining. He's 35. Defensive metrics still like him, and he's still there. What if Simeon's going down? Yankee fans love DJ LeMahieu. The wheels fell off pretty quickly. Although the rumor is he's playing hockey to get his legs back in shape for this baseball season. So
strong base.
That's good. I'll root for that. What if Luis Robert and Marcus Semien play to their baseball card next year? Those are two guys that get paid a good chunk of money. Both get over $20 million a year. Center field and second base. Something that could be critiqued, especially depending where the Mets are at midseason. Maybe not. Maybe they're great. Bichette, again, if that contract was with the Yankees or any team, I'd say I'd like it. That I really like that move. Where things get a little more fun, right now, Brett Beatty is listed as the DH. Bo Bichette is listed as the third baseman. One of those guys has played third base. Bo Bichette has not. Brett Beatty was good last year. That's the other little hidden wrinkle here. Brett Beatty last year, 3 WAR in 130 games, a 748 OPS, 18 homers, 50 RBI. Obviously you can do things left, right, as we've got, Mauricio's on the bench. He switch hits. Vientos can also play the corner infield positions that are currently locked up by Bichette and Polanco, we think. That the Mets do have offensive options, Tyrone Taylor in the outfield, that I think this is going to come together. You just wonder, and the Mets, having seen the Red Sox last year, what if Bichette can't play third? I know glove-wise, in theory, I think Bo Bichette could play third.
In theory, it should be better than shortstop, but
the arm strength numbers aren't great, which that's, you'd like to see that if we're going to third, not second. And who knows? Bichette's coming off a leg injury. Still 28. I'm not too concerned about that. Again, this is a guy arguing if Bichette signed with the Yankees, I'd say play him at shortstop except on Max Fried days and figure it out. The Mets are going to have a lot of eyes on them for a lot of different reasons. I'm very interested to see how the rest of this infield sorts out. Interesting that, the Mets are sticking with Mauricio. He had a lot of hype before he had a major injury. That can he fight for playing time? Where's Vientos going to land in this process? Where's Beatty? Beatty's the guy last year that earned the playing time this year, currently listed as a DH. Are they going to throw him in the corner outfield? There's some rumors about that. The Mets have options, but the two moves that I talked about, Semien and Robert, that is like, hey, the Mets said they want to do defense this year. That's great. and they're going to do defense. I don't know how they're going to do offensively. I just don't. The other positions, Bichette and Polanco, they haven't played those positions. If we're talking about putting Brett Beatty in left field, now do I have 3 guys out of position, including Soto and Wright? Not out of position, but he's on the field for different reasons than his defense. The Mets have a lot of pieces, and I like a lot of the pieces. And maybe I'm being a little too negative on Robert here, when maybe a little more of the target should be at Simeon. And maybe it just all comes together. Maybe it's a baseball team because there's a lot of talent on the field. I'd still really like to see them get another starting pitcher after the steam ran out for them last year in the rotation. If they roll with this lineup, that top 3 could carry, man. The way Lindor, Soto, and Bichette, and then everything else almost becomes bonus pieces. Yeah, it's the beauty of Soto. It's why he probably is worth $800 million. Because if you can put 2 pieces around him, you have a top half lineup in the league. One of the lower guys clicks into gear, your top 10, 2 of them your top 5. So again, the Mets offseason has been fun. I'm interested to see how it develops when you say you have this emphasis on defense, and now I've got 2 infielders and potentially an outfielder out of position. We're juggling a lot of playing time. Sometimes injury and performance figure these things out. Sometimes they don't. And what if they promise Bichette third base, but it ain't working over there? Going to be a fun Mets season to track. Let's see if they're done. They were linked to Zach Gallen last year's deadline. That'd be a pretty nice ad for them. Could they package something and trade for one of the starting pitchers out there? Unfortunately, you could say that with every team. So let's see the New York Metropolitans' next move. I guess the only other ripple effect, because we didn't know if Robert would be traded. It'd kind of been a great debate if they would ever do it. And by the way, little White Sox 30 seconds, they're just like a lot of fun young guys you've heard of. Like if you follow baseball or if you followed prospects, there's a lot of Chase Mydroth, sure. Kyle Teal, Colson Montgomery, Miguel Vargas, Murakami, remember that? Luis Angel Acuna, Edgar Caro. Some real prospecty guys in there.
Between all those, like I believe in like 2 to really work out. I can buy that. People
really like Teal and Montgomery. I think that's where people would place their bets. I don't know. It's interesting when you look at it. Teal, Montgomery, Vargas, and Benintendi were all weighted run created plus positive. Talked about that. Like I made that sound like a blood type. Mydroth is going to be 24 this year. What is Murakami? White Sox baseball should be enjoyable to a degree, finding out if these young guys can play, which I don't think we were saying that a year ago. I guess the other team I want to turn my eyes to in this transaction was the Phillies, who thought they were getting Bichette. Dave Dombrowski came out and said, yeah, we were broken. Twice this year we've heard about broken front offices. The Red Sox and Bregman, the Phillies and Bo Bichette, which they slightly pivot after. They lock in Real Muto, which Real Muto said it was looking a little shaky for a second there, but after that, they locked him in for a 3-year deal, which, just a reminder, catchers don't really hit free agency. And it's kind of fun. Like, Will Smith's locked up forever. Cal Raleigh's locked up forever. It'll be interesting if a true good... Who's the last stud catcher that made it to free agency?
JT?
Maybe, right?
Trying to think of the last few years, but...
Piazza?
Hey, if Adley can right the ship, not to spoil anything we said in our catcher tier list that is already recorded, but he would be one.
It just doesn't happen. That I know, when we were originally doing our Yankees offseason plan, it was like, would Real Muto come for a year? And then everyone did a lap, and it was like, you probably got to do Real Muto for 2 years, huh? Everyone did another lap, and it was like, JT's getting 3, huh? Chris Rose talking about the Pirates going to get Real Muto to lead the pitching staff. I don't feel educated enough to talk about how well regarded he is in that, although everyone says he's kind of the best. Athletically, he still stands out defensively. We'll see what that looks like. The offensive profile did go down, but I still believe in the catcher position defensively, that if he can be around a league average bat, which he was last year, you can work with that. And, hey, maybe there's a resurgence, maybe there's not. But either way, you have that catcher position locked in. Very interested to see where they go. These Phillies that said they kind of needed a retool, remodel. Nick Castellanos is still there, and both sides are still kind of like, yeah, we're going to trade. It would be a salary dump, so someone's got to agree to that, and how much did the Phillies eat? On the other side, Bryson Stott has been kind of hasn't taken the next step. Alec Boehm has been in trade rumors for 2.5 years. That these Phillies, currently the add to the team has been Adolis Garcia, who he hasn't been good. I like the potential. I like the body. I like him being in the Phillies lineup. I kind of like him getting out of Texas. Texas had a bad case of the not hitting ever since that World Series run. The rotation looks like it still plays, and that's without Zach Wheeler currently listed, that supposedly things are supposed to be okay there. They'll obviously handle that carefully. And the other thing that was very interesting to me, the Phillies, who did lose Ranger Suarez in that Red Sox signing, they are over the luxury tax. That JT Realmuto's number counts 110%. So JT Realmuto for $15 million is approximately 32 million. But what I come back to, sure, we're going to dump Castellanos and collect a little bit of money on that, or at least that's their goal. They were going to sign Bichette. So quick turkey math here. Bichette getting $42 million a year. They would have been paying 110% on that. Or excuse me, they were trying to sign him for a longer contract, so it would have been $30+ million a year. So they would have been paying him Kyle Tucker money. They would have been paying, or not to him, but they would have been paying $60+ million for Bo Bichette's services. Makes me wonder if they're not done. It makes me wonder if they could rework their assets a little more, because I don't know if the Phillies are back to strength yet with Suarez out. Not knowing fully where Zach Wheeler is going to be at, which I know that part's a little unfair. And they have some young prospects. Is Andrew Painter's time now? Is Aiden Miller's time now? Is Justin Crawford's time now? Are they a potential belly wildcard team? If you're going to pay Bo Bichette that much, your center field spot is open. Seems like he'd fit there. Is it just the Yankees? Is Belly going to wait for how long? Seems like he kind of has the Yanks by the balls. That we heard it's going to be this week, but we don't have any confirmation on that. No way.
Literally way. Belly's back.
Belly's back?
Belly's
back! Belly's back! Belly's back! What do we do?
Pass and tweet.
Wow. Belly's back! Belly's back!
Belly's back.
Belly's back!
Belly's back.
Do we have a number?
No
Belly's
number
back.
yet.
9-year deal.
Joe's, get over here. 9-year deal. What?
Do you not see it?
You can't just yell 9-year deal.
Can't just be yelling 9-year deal, Joe.
You can't yell. Now BBD's got to bring you in the shot.
And I had to set up a whole new thing.
Now we got to do Talking Yanks?
Oh.
Holy smokes. I forgot about Talking
Oh
Yanks.
shit, we got a meeting.
We're going to have
We're
to
supposed to be in a
talk
meeting
Yanks.
right now.
Should I do a quick video?
I haven't been recording Wake and Jake.
Did he stop it?
I don't know.
Ask BBD real quick.
Should I do a video?
I mean, we might be just out soon.
You should do a video real quick.
Wait, I
Bellinger
think I'm going to
back
make
the
a video.
Yankees, Papa, let's go. Come right back home. You heard? I told you.
Bellinger back to the Yankees,
good.
Papa. LOL, I told you.
This is good right there. He's
I
back.
can't
don't
do
know
that.
What are the numbers of the deal? We don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. Do you know? And that is good. I'm very happy. Now the offseason can probably begin.
Oh.
Can we start the offseason finally? Let's go. Okay. Never in doubt. What?
Wasn't
Never
worried
in
about
doubt. Jake?
Any money?
I don't have anything there. Yankees got their left fielder.
You say 9 years?
it. No, I haven't seen
There's a number
anything.
being thrown around of 9 years. I don't know who brought that up. But that's crazy if it's 9 years. 5 years, 162 and a half.
5 years.
5 years, 162 and a half.
So we got another 2.5 mil out?
Yeah, so that's good. They figured it out. I'm sure that there's some opt-outs in there. I'm glad you're back, Pop. You wanted to be back. We wanted you back. You didn't make the mistake that other people made to go to another team. Not to mention names. And that's good.
That's
Let's
good.
go Yankees. And let's start the offseason.
Can you end your video? I want to make one.
Yeah. We're recording an episode right now.
I'm recording.
You just kind of...
Well, he stopped it.
No.
Should I film and then send it to Ryan Cohen?
That'd be awesome. What do you want to do?
Chat, subscribe. We're probably going to talk Yanks.
I think I'm going to do something there.
We probably already talked Yanks if you're seeing this.
Yeah, maybe we'll do Yanks at the top of this. All right. I told you I wanted to talk a little bit of football today because why not? Why not, people? And it's that primetime season, and we only have 3 football games left. The college natty happened. I'll talk a little bit about Indiana before moving on to the pros. Indiana, as it's been discussed, is one of the rarest sports stories of all time. Literally the losingest college program ever. Who Cignetti has turned into a character from JMU, and just his demeanor and the fact he looks like Kickball Dad. If you don't get that reference, go look on the internet. It's one of the coolest sports stories ever. That in this NIL time period, what he has done from his Google Me quote a couple years ago to where that program is at now, where he is at now, and Indiana football that has never been a thing is now the national champions. Shout out to Miami. I didn't think they were going to give them a game. I thought we were going to go end this with, is Indiana one of the best teams ever? Miami gave them a good game, and man, if they don't have that punt blocked for a touchdown, what does that do for the trajectory of the game? The lines for Miami, and that's Cristobal's whole deal, is like that's what he believes in, and it works at every level of football. If you win the game there, it makes a lot of everything else very easy. Interested to see his next steps. I could see Cristobal find himself in an NFL gig. Sorry to the you listeners that are out there. Cignetti, there's some guys that just reek of college, and like Cignetti has that as much as I love the journey and people are daydreaming him as an NFL coach, I'm good. Like let's see where we can bring this college football thing. And Mendoza, a weird character. I forget if I said it on here. I think I did. I was talking. He's kind of nerdy. He was getting Kirk Cousins comparisons. Kirk Cousins and Matt Ryan. I like both comps for him. Like when you're watching him, you don't like, whoa, look, this isn't Cam Newton or something like this. But he gets the ball in the right spots at the right times. Now that Indiana team is very talented. I am a believer in pro quarterbacks from kind of not the best colleges when you have to deal with adversity every week and you don't have the best team. Indiana kind of had that this year, and it looks like he's going to Vegas, which doesn't seem to be a breeding ground for success, even though Brady's taking that over. But let me know how that works for Jordan and the Charlotte Bobcats. But that Mendoza final run is great. His interviews are hilarious. And it was a good lesson, and it is a good lesson to everyone out there to be yourself, which snaps for Indiana football. Just a pretty cool story. The college football playoffs was a blast this year. I loved it. We still have to figure out some things with the format, and there should be some rules about NILs and transferring and stuff, but if it's not there, do you. I know I have some Oklahoma State friends, that they just got the North Texas coach, and he's transferring in with like 14 of his players from a solid football team this year. And it's all weird, but it's just where college football is at. And I don't know, I kind of liked the end product, although it can get better, and they're working on it getting better. So that's kind of the wrap on the college football season. I talked about being yourself with Mendoza. That beautifully nerdy Heisman-winning quarterback will be the first pick in the draft in Vegas. It's going to be a fun one. Speaking of being yourself, I texted myself 3 things last night. First one was Indiana. The second one that segues perfectly is Baker Mayfield. I don't know if this one came across everyone's timeline. Baker Mayfield, who has made a full transformation from Baker Mayfield, hot shot, all that, to, he was in the NFL. It felt like he was in every commercial for a little bit, which that just makes America hate you. And then his performance was bad that he gets let go from the Browns. I think if you're a sports fan, you've seen the picture of him he was on the Carolina Panthers defensive line scout team. And then if you remember, he had that one Rams game where he just flew in basically that day and won them the game on Thursday Night Football. That was a fun one. Anyways, he's found himself in Tampa Bay. He's become QB1 in Tampa. They love him down there. It clearly seemed like he got hurt this year because he was playing at a very high level, and then he was not. I don't know. Football-wise, if you want to stand somewhere on Baker, you can have an argument in almost every direction. I think he's fun for the game. His teammates have always loved him at every level. But I don't know the next steps. I would love a Baker Mayfield championship game run or Super Bowl type run. I don't know if we'll ever get that. But Baker is in a league where we're hunting for quarterbacks. Like, Baker has secured himself as a starting quarterback in this league. You can't argue against that. Kevin Stefanski, who I've loved, and by the way, for the Wake and Jake Bakers that like football, there's been two coaches that early on in football seasons, there's been three coaches that I have given the Storielli test of, I will remember your name because I think you're doing something impressive. The first one was Kevin Stefanski with the Browns. The real Bakers know. If you were here for it, comment below. I kind of went on a rant. Like, we've kind of forgotten who the Browns were, and Stefanski has made them this legit Major League Baseball team. Someone was going to rock in the room, and I got distracted. I saw Joe's shoes. Football team. The Browns were a joke of a joke of a joke. I know they've ended up in a bad area again, but the Browns were steady for a few years there, and it was all because of Stefanski that I really like him, and I still really like him. I kind of wanted the Giants to bring him in. He's going to Atlanta. So the other two coaches, by the way, were Kevin O'Connell for the Vikings before they started rolling a couple years ago. And then the third one was Mike McDonald, who now has the Seahawks as a wagon and like the Super Bowl favorite. So the Storielli, I'm going to learn your name test, done pretty well with that coaching-wise. Being yourself, Mendoza, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield came out after Stefanski got signed and said that someone asked him about Stefanski, and he said, I never got a message or a call from him after the Browns let me go. I cannot wait to face him twice a year. And man, oh man, in a world of sports where athletes have gotten so nervous about the quote and giving the wrong quote, I love that Baker's Baker. And like, we need to get back to sports. You don't have to be WWE, but be yourself. There's a reason people love Baker when he's on their team. He's one of those competitive dogs. He's going to come at you. You see him on the field. He'll get popped by a linebacker. He'll talk some junk to him, hit him with the first down, and it's real, and it's within who he is. He's not trying to be someone else. I love that Baker, on Stefanski getting hired, basically called out the Falcons and said, let's do this. Sports has gotten a little too far into the generic quote, and, how many quarterbacks would have gone, hey, I enjoyed my time with Kevin Stefanski, and, now he's on the Falcons, he's the bad guy. You could kind of corny your way through that while still having the I'm a competitor. Baker threw that out the window, and I love it. The final thing going on in football that I want to talk about, obviously, the final championship weekend of football, the Patriots and Broncos running it back. A lot of fun playoff games there for Bronco fans in recent history. My Patriot fans know that. On the other side, Seattle and the Rams, which it feels like it's been lining up for that. Part Trace, Trevor Plouffe's going to be in attendance. It's really hard to beat a good thing 3 times. Let's see. if the Rams or the Seahawks can get it done. We got to start wrapping up. It's almost talking Yanks time. I just saw Jimmy. I got excited. I don't know. I'm going Rams. I do think it's really hard to beat a team 3 times, and I think they're a better team. They blew one of those games on Thursday Night Football. The one I want to talk about more, my Broncos, is that Jarrett Stidham, the backup quarterback, is going to get some run. As you know, I've struggled with my Broncos fandom. I've talked about it multiple times. I don't need to do that whole speech on here. I found myself, as a lot of football fans, with that Broncos kind of deflated feeling, like, wow, the Broncos won. Bo Nix kind of looked good at the end. He broke his ankle? Everyone thought it was a prank tweet at first. Like, everyone was seeing if it was the real Schefter or not. Turns out, it was the real Schefter. Bo Nix broke his ankle. He's out. Jarrett Stidham is in. Here's all I can give you. And I don't know if I should believe this or if I'm caught in my fandom. And if I am caught in my fandom, let's bleep and go. Jarrett Stidham has been the backup quarterback for 3 years. That goes back to Russell Wilson, the Bronco. Stidham backed up Russell Wilson. Stidham has now backed up Bo Nix for 2 years. When I've talked about Sean Payton on this show, I've told people I kind of struggle with Sean Payton. Sean Payton is the opposite of me. He's like military. He's kind of anal. He's kind of, in a way, we're both into ourselves, but in very different ways. That I've struggled with the Sean Payton side of things. But how can I not buy in? These Broncos are in the championship game after. Remember they cut Russ, and everyone's like, how can you cut that much money and you've been a bad team? Like, everyone was expecting a full Broncos retool, reload. Well, they found themselves in the AFC Championship game at home against the Patriots and Drake May, which, hey, maybe the Pats are going to win. Maybe the Pats are back. You guys know I still have some Patriots hater in me. It's maybe my most hated team. I like Rabel. I don't know where I stand on Drake May yet. In Denver, in Mile High, Sean Payton being militaristic, being one of the most anal people that I've seen in sports. The fact that he's had Jarrett Stidham for these 3 years makes me feel like that's for a reason. When you could go out and draft guys, when you could go pick up backup quarterbacks in free agency, he's had Jarrett Stidham in the building throughout the whole time. I watched some Stidham highlights. They're kind of old, like his Patriot highlights. Some are pre-COVID. Like, my guy has not played a lot of football. But I don't know. I'm going in with belief. We've seen the backup quarterback game in the NFL before. Can he be Foles? I don't know. Can I believe in Jarrett Stidham for a day? I'm going to. I've decided I'm going to. And it's because of Peyton and some of the stuff I didn't like about him that makes me want to believe in Jarrett Stidham. So excited to watch the football games this weekend. We'll be building up for the Super Bowl. Maybe that Chris Rose episode we always dream about. It turned into a juicy episode. We got to wrap it up. Make sure you subscribe, share. We love you. Have fun. And we'll talk some more sports another time.